So we could be live at any moment.
Any moment.
So it says preview. Oh, no, it now says 5 seconds since we've been live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Talking Picard, our weekly installment of the CBS All Access show, Picard.
Yay!
Yay! This week I am joined, as always, by Neil Andrew Eyre, my better half on the Escape Podcast. I'm also joined by Mrs. Anthony Krittikae, my better half in real life. And right down below, we have Thaddeus, my better half of internet fame. How are you guys doing today?
Wunderbar.
Good, thanks. I was waiting for them.
Okay. Neil?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Oh boy, this episode, or this.
I only just finished watching the episode an hour ago, so.
Same.
Well, we start off on planet Vashti. You know what? Before I get into this, escapepodcastaways.com/merch. If you go there right now, Team Krittikae has been added to the store. You could buy Mrs. Anthony's shirt. It is yellow by default. And also has a special Star Trek font instead of Escape Pod font. So that's always fun. Now, stop yawning at that, Neil.
I wasn't yawning at that. I was yawning at, being tired, that's all.
All right, so we start off on planet Vashti. Once again with another flashback. It seems we get flashbacks to start these episodes now.
Yeah.
On the Romulan relocation hub 14 years ago. You saw them playing with those triangular cards, apparently in an actual game. Mrs. Anthony says that we then got to see Panama Picard and a little boy Romulan Aladdin named Elnor.
Elnor, son of Elrond of Rivendell, right?
Yeah, basically.
Rivendell.
We will get to that, Thad. We will absolutely get to that. And as Neil pounds the first one, do you have any more where that came from, Nev?
No. I just thought I'd get it finished quickly out of the way before we started talking about the episode. Oh, sorry. We are talking about the episode already, aren't we?
Yes, we've jumped into it, sir.
Yes, we did. Picard is there helping refugees that he's evacuated from Romulus. And I jokingly put in my notes that Picard is spreading Earth propaganda as he gives 3 musketeers to a little child, Elnor.
Seriously?
Yeah, I know. I don't. If you know what, if you're gonna give some Dumas, then why not the Count of Monte Cristo? That's such a better book than the 3 Musketeers.
I wonder if it's going to tie in somewhere later. I mean, not later on in the episode. We don't necessarily see a tie-in officially, but like in the series, I've got to believe that there's going to be a tie-in somewhere.
What, with the 3 Musketeers?
Yeah.
Well, they already had a sword fight.
Yeah.
He's
pretty good. He's pretty good. He's pretty good with a sword, as we'll discuss later on in the episode.
Yeah.
Having not read, there's a lot of innuendo, or I say innuendo. There's a lot of really inappropriate jokes that I could have made, having watched this episode and sword fighting and like I don't know. I felt like half the time I was like, "That's what she said." As I watched this,
no, they weren't sword fighting.
Okay,
they were fencing.
There is a difference.
There is a difference.
I know, but
I actually liked that throwback because Picard used to fence in Next Generation too.
Yeah,
that was like one of his, 3 ways of exercising. That racquetball game, horseback riding, and fencing was pretty much it. So I liked that they brought that back. But then he's like very old man. Who's going to make him fence? And so
it was Kirk that liked the horseback riding.
Well, yeah, but Picard rode horses on the holodeck too.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I just thought that the horseback riding was a Kirk thing. That was all.
So we kind of get the foreshadowing about the Quat Malar, which apparently are protectors of people. We'll get to exactly what causes they take up as we get on in the episode.
Warrior nuns.
Yeah.
We've had ninjas. We've had space ninjas. Now we have warrior nuns.
I love it.
Do not steal Thaddeus's joke.
I absolutely love the idea of warrior nuns. This is what I assume goes on in Catholic schools and why people hate nuns. Like, you give a nun a ruler and all of a sudden it's like she's doing backflips and like one-legged like balancing from high atop tree branches, and like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That's nuns. That's what nunnery is, and that's why it's always so difficult to get into a convent, because they don't want you to learn their secret assassins. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
And they let a little boy join their nun warrior club.
I thought that was adorable.
That boy was adorable. He was.
You always root for Aladdin. He was the Romulan Aladdin.
He was. The whole time, though, this whole episode, I kept thinking, what's Rivendell looks very different than what I would have thought or what I've seen in the movies. Like, it just felt very Lord of the Ringsy to me.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah, no, it was. It was very J.R.R. Tolkien-esque.
Yeah, which I'm coming from this with zero experience, right? I'm just trying to embrace the fandom anew, or new, not anew, but new. And I kind of like that, but I don't know. I don't want to hug this.
It's okay. So we find out, he's fencing with Elnor. Picard is when he gets a call from Banana Phone Raffi, and apparently he was on he was on Vashti when the Mars attacks happened.
Yes,
it all comes back to the Mars attacks.
Always.
The Pierce Brosnan film, Jack Nicholson film, Mars Attacks. It always comes back to that.
Let's face it, and it always should, because that is one of the greatest films in all of cinema. It's just wonderful.
Galaxy Quest
is good, but it does not hold a candle to Mars Attacks, and I'll die on this hill. So,
excuse me, but who was the hot person in Mars Attacks? Because Sigourney Weaver was just, that my love for Sigourney Weaver was renewed in that movie.
No, I disagree. The hot person in Mars Attacks was Ving Rhames, hand down. We can all agree with that. He was
the only. I think it was Annette Bening. Was the first lady in that movie? I think it was Annette. Was it Annette Bening?
I think so.
I'm pulling it up, guys. Don't worry.
But Annette Bening does not hold a candle to Sigourney Weaver,
No, agreed.
She's got no. I mean, she was never Ripley, And I know she wasn't Ripley in that movie, but I always go back to Ripley because strong,
Speaking
all
of
you
Ripley,
men are useless. I'm so helpless.
Glenn Close.
Eat flame aliens, eat grenade, eat laser.
Okay, speaking of Ripley, and I'm gonna throw in a subtle self-promotion here. Thaddeus does get points or credit or whatever if you go and sign up for my Audible account. But if you do sign up, they have these like little Audible monthly things, and one of them that you get for free if you sign up for Audible is this like this audio drama of the Alien series, and I am falling in love with it. And they have like I just stumbled upon to the recent one. It was awesome. I'll stop talking about that. But
no, it's okay. And by the way, if you want to support Going Nerdy, all you have to do is go to escapepodcastaways.com, and instead of the merch link to get to the TeePublic store, click on the Going Nerdy offer. That'll take you to Amazon, and you can help out Thaddeus from there.
Absolutely.
All right, so we end up finding out that Picard left without saying goodbye, and so he heads back to Vashti in the whatever ship this is that they're on, and we find him on a holodeck for his quarters, if you will, because the ship came with a hologram hospitality program that once again also looks like Rios.
Which begs the... Sorry.
I was going to say, and in this, we once again get another F-bomb.
Mm-hmm.
That was to Jonathan Frakes, not you guys.
I gotta say, it's throwing me, and I'm like, I forgot that this was TVMA, and so I start watching this with my 9-year-old daughter, and I'm like, and we got probably close to the end of the opening scene, and we're skipping past the credits because the opening credits are a minute and a half, and my wife's like, "What are you watching?" And I was like, "Picard," and she's like, "No, that's TVMA," and I was like, "No, it's not," and so clearly I had to look it up to prove my wife wrong, and I was wrong. And I'm glad that I stopped because it was like seconds before they dropped the F-bomb. And it's so unneeded.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unnecessary. Nothing else, and I will argue this, nothing else in this whole thing is TVMA, except every occasionally they drop the F-bomb. There's no nudity. There's no swearing outside of the F-bomb, above what we see on regular cable TV. Give it as TV 14 and open it up. Take the F-bombs out and just let it go.
I mean, I could deal with him saying, "I hate that damn program," not "I hate that effing program."
Yeah.
There's, you know what? I mean, Jonathan, this is directed at you. There's this thing, it's called a thesaurus, right? I know you're a director, you're a big Hollywood director, big Hollywood actor, but when you're leafing through the script and you're directing your actors and you see an F-bomb in a Star Trek episode, you go to said thesaurus, you look in the thesaurus and you find another word that isn't an F-bomb. You are Star Trek royalty, you should know better. I am putting 100% of the blame for this F-bomb 100% on his shoulders. He saw the script, he's the director, he has the ability to go, "No, not in my episode. I don't care what the script says, I don't care what the writer says. Alex Kurtzman, if you want me to come back and direct more of these, I'm the bloody director. There will be no F-bombs in my episodes." Didn't do it.
And we're not trying to come off as prudes here.
No.
It's not about being a prude.
I love the F-bomb in television. I typically think it's hilarious. But
not necessary for Star Trek.
It's not necessary. Yeah.
Personally, I just think that we have this huge galaxy with all of these species and all of these different languages. Surely we could find another word.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They've had this is the 4th episode. They've had 4 episodes. So, yeah.
So, welcome to Apropos. We love seeing Apropos on the in the live chat. I was going to say listener lounge, but we really don't go to the Discord channel on this. We stick to the YouTube live chat. So, if you guys are live chatting, or if you guys are wanting to comment, catch us every single Sunday while Picard's running at 10 p.m. for more Picard. Talking Picard with the 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely want to say hello to Apropos. He's one of our very, very passionate Star Trek fans, and I wouldn't want to do a Star Trek show without him. So, we get to as they're on their way there. We find out that smugglers and petty warlords are in charge of the sector. It's what's called Fenris Rangers territory, but they don't have any resources from the Fenris Rangers anymore. And then JL, I know you love it, Neil.
Yeah, loving it.
wants to hire a Qowat Malar for himself, because the Qowat Malar are feared enemies of the Tal Shiar.
That's
so
a whole lot of words that don't seem to make sense.
They don't make sense if you don't know what's going on.
Okay, so Qowat Malar, those, just so I know, those are our fighting nuns, our ninja nuns, right?
The
Warrior
Qowat
nuns.
Malar are the fighting, an individual fighting nun assigned to your cause.
Yes. Ninja nuns.
So the feared
Nun
enemies
assassins.
of the Tal Shiar, it makes me happy that the Tal Shiar and hopefully the Vatsash or what?
Yeah, Vatsash.
Yeah, Vatsash. Savash. What? One of those. I'm sure Apropos will correct me here. Are they? Do they fear them too? It's good that somebody has, an enemy. Go ahead.
It makes a lot of sense, actually, as they're describing who these people are, who these warrior nuns are, because they are all about the way of absolute candor, which is actually part of this.
This is the way.
Yeah.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This episode's title. They are very above board. They spell it out for you. They don't lie. And the Tal Shiar are all about secrets. So it's like they're polar opposites, but it's all still within Romulan culture. I found that fascinating. I don't know a lot about Romulans, so I really like that they're kind of expanding what we know about that culture.
So Neil, let's start with you, Neil, on this one. What do you think of this whole Romulan culture?
Nice. It's nice to know a bit about them. Nice to know what they were like. I mean, the nuns haven't changed in 13 years. We get a flashback of the nuns, and then we get the fast forward to the present day in the future, and they haven't changed one little bit. They're exactly the same, which is nice, because you expect things to change, but something like that, it didn't. So I kind of like that, and obviously the Romulans on the planet 13 years ago, it was all sweet and smiles and happy days and lightness and flowers, and then 13 years later they are pissed. And they are pissed, and I they've got every right and every reason to be pissed, because although I don't know, if I was them, I'd be thinking to themselves, what happened was pretty shitty, but we're grown ups. We're a decent civilization. We don't need no stinking Starfleet to help us. We can stand on our own 2 feet, and we're a strong culture of Romulans. We should be able to look after ourselves. So I was a little bit that was a little bit confusing. I thought that they'd have been fine on their own, but clearly they hold a grudge against Starfleet, and and Picard jumps in, and he is that. It's like, oh, somebody from Starfleet, let's all give him the stink eye at the same time, and it's like
yeah, we skipped over a little bit here, but it was certainly interesting to see that. And we'll get back to that in a second, Neil. Thaddeus, about the whole way of absolute candor and what we learned about the Romulans here. What coming from an outsider perspective, what are you thinking of the race?
So I actually do like the perspective here, because it shows diversity in the canon, like because if you look at any race, and by this I'm looking at any planet or any civilization or localization or whatever, you find multiple dynamics within that. And so it's cool to see that the Romulans are multifaceted people, that there isn't just like, oh, this is one way or this is that way. It's not just this is the way, there are many different ways, or at least 2 that we're seeing here. And so I thought that was pretty cool, and it gave me a better understanding of Romulan people, or at least the Romulans as we're going to know them in this series. And so I liked that. And it also potentially could create some hesitation as we see later on in the story in this episode, and then possibly later on in other episodes. But I'll get into that when we come into it. So I did like it, though. I do.
I mean, the thing with Romulans is we tend to see hard ass military style Romulans who aren't particularly nice and are a bit hard ass, or politicians. So but this planet seems to be populated with just civilians. So regular people are regular people. It doesn't matter what their race is. They're not military. They're not politicians. And military and politicians of any race tend to be a bit hard ass and, a bit stern and a bit strict. And you either love them or you hate them. But the civilians, even though they're Romulans, it's just, at the end of the day, they're just like kind of regular people, really, when you think about it, aren't they?
All right. Yeah. So what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and jump over. Basically, there was just a quick interlude of being back on the Borg cube with Soji listening to an interview with the Romulan that called her the Destroyer, and she's playing with the triangle cards. Then we end up jumping right back to Picard. So I've touched on that. We'll get to the Borg, to all the stuff that happened on the Borg cube in just a moment. But, we really did see a lot of xenophobia and malice towards Starfleet. And I'm calling it xenophobia because they had a sign that said Romulans only, not no Starfleet.
That makes sense.
So a lot of xenophobia is happening at this bar, and as Picard actually gets to go down and beam down there, and everybody's wearing the comm badges, Romulan comm badges. I could equate it to like maybe a cell phone. Maybe that's now everything that everybody has, is instead of having a cell phone, you have comm badges that you wear all day. But I don't know how you end up playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes on it.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. So here I gotta say the thing. I thought that this was a Romulan planet. Like the space ninja nuns are Romulan, are they not? Am I misunderstanding that?
No, they are. But this is where they relocated while the Romulan star was blowing up.
Yeah.
And so years ago.
And so that's what I understood, is that this was like their
it's just a planet for refugees.
Yeah, a planet for refugees, but I understood it as Romulan refugees, and so the sign Romulans only felt redundant to me because I didn't see anyone but Romulans.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
No, okay, what I was going to point out was it made no sense.
Yeah.
The sign makes absolutely no sense whatsoever because it's only Romulans on the planet.
Okay,
Christy,
go ahead,
correct us.
Yeah.
From Memory Alpha, Vashti was an inhabited planet located in a binary star system in the Beta Quadrant. Terrans and Romulans lived on this world.
Oh, okay.
So it already was a Terran world, but apparently maybe the Terrans left?
I don't know.
Two canons. This is the prime timeline, not canon. We have absolutely no idea what happened to Terran Romulan relations after the whole prime split with the canon. Star Trek, the Star Trek movie was the beginning of the prime timeline.
Yeah, you keep saying prime timeline. I did some research on this after our last week's episode. Everything is in the same timeline except for the movies with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. Everything else is in the same timeline, the same canon.
Discovery and this are following the Bad Robot timeline.
What's the J.J. Abrams?
J.J. Abrams movies.
The only thing that's not. Those three movies are the only thing that's not canon.
So, yeah, it seems that way that maybe apropos can chime in on this, but it does seem like the timeline that we are in with the show Picard is in the same timeline as Next Generation. It's not a reset button for those who are familiar, like Star Wars happened, with the killing all expanded universe stuff. It's been that Star Trek has been anything that's been on TV, anything that's been on motion picture. Those two things are canon, and anything that's comic book literature related is ancillary as far as they're concerned. They can retcon easily anything in literature, but when it comes to the whole small and silver screen, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I saw you guys laughing over there. What you laughing at, Thad?
I was laughing at apropos.
Yeah, I was laughing at apropos.
He says that I'll be honest with you, and I'll have to admit I haven't had the desire to sort the difference out. So, and again, coming from an outsider, I just know that because of the events in the films, the most recent films, there is a different timeline. But like from what I've heard is that this one follows everything, in Picard. But in those other where we've seen Picard before. So but again, no research is done on my part for that. So I'm just trying to enjoy the show and then overanalyze it here every week.
Overanalyze it.
Mm-hmm. This is how I end my Sunday. I overanalyze the hell out of everything. Well, everything Star Trek.
The stuff that happens on the ship, I like the stuff that happens on the ship. I love the fact that the captain has got multiple emergency holograms. He's got loads of emergency holograms throughout his ship, and that he has personalized the personality subroutines of each of them. So each of the holograms has a different function because he doesn't have a crew. So he has holograms, and each hologram has a different function and a different personality, which is why the F-bomb makes even less sense, because he created the hologram, he created the personality subroutine, so why would he effing hate it so much?
Hold on. Ah, crap.
But yeah, love that, love the ship, love the hologram, love the hologram crew, love the hologram crew.
Thad's got the tinfoil hat on. What you got, Thad?
Okay. The reason why the captain hates the hologram is the captain himself is a hologram, Nev. And
dun, dun,
yeah, he was not the programmer. He was not the father, if you will. He was just one of the others. And that is why he might be hologram prime or hologram alpha or, H1, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But he is the first hologram. And therefore, he has a hierarchy with the other holograms. Also, the angst within the other holograms. That's what I'm thinking.
All right, what you got, Mrs. Anthony?
Okay, I like that. I think that perhaps there is a captain hologram. I don't think it's always a hologram because he did have that wound that had to get fixed the first time we met him. But what I personally believe is the reason he hates the holograms is somebody somewhere in his past, somebody screwed with him and set up all the holograms to look like him and just irritate him. And I think that's the same reason that the only music or entertainment he has on board is Klingon opera. Because he said that there was a story with that in this episode. I think somebody just hijacked his ride and messed with him, and now he's stuck with all this crew that he can't get rid of. He can't reprogram them.
A jilted ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
it was the original pilot to piss off the second the second guy. Now, I got to throw this out there, Christy, correct me if I'm wrong here, but in the original, when we first meet the captain, wasn't the hologram the one fixing him?
The emergency medical hologram was, yeah.
Which we see we see that in Voyager, and we see that in Voyager anyway. The Doctor, ironically, was the Doctor in was a hologram in Discovery, or not Discovery in Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
Okay, so Star Trek fans, I have a question because I walked away from this episode with like my biggest question was here at this point. Klingon opera. What does that sound like? Because to me, my first thought was like death metal or like some kind of angry screaming for like 3 hours at a time.
I wouldn't say death metal. I do think we do see it in a few episodes.
I don't remember.
I'll look that up.
Like grindcore or something that's terribly
scary. We did move ahead just slightly here as we tend to do, yeah. But back on Vashti. Jolin True, the warrior nun lady, does greet Picard and impressed that he remembers the little open book or whatever the hell that was. Voyager and DS9 both had one episode where there was Klingon opera. So
good to know.
It sounds, it's not death metal, but it sounds as screechy as you think. Anyway, so Jean-Luc needs help one last time, and all of a sudden Elnor shows up before the commercial break looking very much, and this is where we get to it, like a dark-haired Legolas.
Yes! Absolutely! I was like, it's the Elven Prince! I was very excited. I was a little disappointed that he didn't have his bow with him, but
he's got a sword instead.
Legolas had swords and bows. I'm just saying.
It was probably a trademark issue.
Probably. I could see that.
Tolkien's estate is very litigious.
They are.
From literal experience, she does know. But it's it essentially does confirm the theory that Romulans are space elves.
Yes, space elves.
Not the bad space elves from Thor: Dark World though. Not from
different space elves.
Different space elves.
Really, dark elves, which you're talking about, are a race of dwarf.
Not the bad dark elves. Not the Christopher Eccleston dark elves from the Marvel universe.
I'm right.
True.
Is right.
True.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Oh. All right. So let's jump back to the board cube here, because we will get back to Elnor Legolas here in a moment. Back on the board cube, Soji and as I call him, Hot Rom, also known as Narek, are discussing whether Narek is a Tal Shiar. Christy, you wrote down that you think he answered her truthfully.
Yeah, I think he's obviously hiding things from her, but just the way that he was answering, I feel like he is being as truthful with her and as open with her as he's capable of being. I was surprised to see that, because the Romulans tend to be so secretive. But yeah, I just got the feeling that he was honestly answering as much as he could with her.
And after that, we see them going down a hallway towards a an archive room, and Narek tells them to take their shoes off for a Borg custom. How does he know about Borg customs?
He's making it up.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
He's flirting with her.
Yeah.
And
He doesn't need to flirt with her anymore. He's already got into her panties.
but at the same time, I all of a sudden had a flashback to the movie Across the Universe, where they're sliding around on the ice and cheering at each other. Another reference would be Titanic, where they're dancing in the bowels of the ship.
I was thinking Happy Gilmore and Endless Love.
Nice. That's very good.
Christy has one.
I was thinking of Galaxy Quest at the end, where the captain and the female Jason, his name was Jason, they were going through those chomper machines and they had to dance through.
That thought crossed my mind too. But one of the first thing was like, this is what orphans do. They slide around in their socks because they can't go ice skating, right? It's like, this is what little kids do. And like, it was playful and fun, and it felt weird and wrong.
Well, we ended up. Neil, do you have anything to add? I don't want to skip over you, bud.
Have we got back to the planet yet?
Not yet. We're not back on the planet yet.
So we're still talking about the Borg cube stuff. You
stuff.
go on. The Borg cube stuff bores the crap out of me. You go on.
Well, it was storyline
apart from his sister, she's hot. But I remember her from Mad Men.
There was some plot points here, because Narek points out to Soji that, by the way,
there's one of our dogs.
There's one of our dogs. Narek points out to Soji that all humans are listed on a manifest when they travel on a ship, but she wasn't on a manifest. And Soji got mad at him for that, and then totally blew him off instead of heading towards the archive.
Yeah. And then his response is like, so you're gonna blow off the fact that you know all of this other stuff but can't explain it? I think he's trying to tell her and like protect her, right? Which makes me wonder if he is, the Baal Shiar, or if he's part of like the space nuns, or somewhere in the middle. So, because it does seem like he's trying to protect her, especially that scene with the sister, who I agree with Nev is a very attractive lady.
At the very end.
We all get there. But yeah, I'll jump back. But I'm just like, he's trying to give her information, so I think that she can piece it together herself. So, but I don't know to what end, because he seems, I don't know. He seems to be working two sides.
Yeah.
It does seem like he is a double agent, but we will definitely get on that. We ended up going back to the planet. Now we're back to the planet, Neil. And we all of a sudden get a report from the ship that lots of people are letting other people know that that Picard is there. Essentially kind of like a Twitter.
He's trending.
He's trending on space Twitter.
On Romulan headsets.
See, this all felt Star Trek-y. It felt like Star Trek, going down to the planet, the conversation. It just felt like Star Trek. This little chunk of the episode really, really felt like Star Trek. Which I was eventually pulled out of by something that happened in a scene, but we'll get to that after you've discussed.
So, but you like this part, Nev? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, I really, it felt like Star Trek. So, he goes down to the planet to obviously speak to the nuns and say hello again, and see the little boys all grown up. The dark-haired Legolas and trying to get their help, and the dialogue was good, the acting was good, the backwards and forwards was good. It felt like Star Trek. It really felt like Star Trek, you know. Then there was the, you know, he thinks he's lost it, so he walks off, and you know, he's like, you can, you know, he's fuming. He's not going to get the assistance he's like, and he sees the sign, and the sign that makes no sense, and he takes it and he throws and he walks on it. It's like, that's what I think about your stinking sign. And then he goes, and it's like, you know what? I'm going to go sit at the back of the bus. I'm going to go sit at the back of this goddamn bus. Now, give me a drink. You know, sits down. It's like, waiter, excuse me, waiter. And then, you know, the people go up, and you know that there's going to be somebody, you know, somebody wants to rumble, because somebody always wants to rumble in a Star Trek episode.
And we'll definitely get to that here. Well, it is where we're at, but I do want to, you came up with the Fellowship of Picard. Am I right, Mrs. Anthony?
Yeah, I started picking apart all the characters and deciding who they were.
So go ahead. You have this list that you wrote for us.
I do. So obviously Picard is Gandalf. I mean, obviously.
Wait. I thought Magneto was Gandalf, not Professor X was Gandalf.
I'm going to disagree with you here. There's no way Picard is Gandalf. Picard is clearly
Bilbo
or Frodo, right?
Okay.
He has the call. He's going to do something that he does later on in the episode say is a hopeless quest, right? There is no Gandalf per se.
Well,
I think
not yet. I could see that.
Or
the rest of my fellowship anyway. So
no. And I'll do you one better. There is a Gandalf. Gandalf is either data, whatever, or
put $1 in the mispronunciation jar that apropos set up.
Dang it. Or twin number one. Right. And
the twins are Mary and Pippin.
Okay, I can see that.
The twins are Mary and Pippin.
She's got the rest
of the characters.
All right, go. I'm sorry.
She's got the rest of the list here.
Zach Jotty is a hobbit, obviously. So if the twins are Mary and Pippin, that would leave Sam for her, which is fine. You know,
I could see her as a Sam.
I think Raffi is Boromir because she's going to screw some stuff up.
Oh, totally.
Rios is Gimli because he's grumbly and doesn't want to get along, but he's going to end up being everybody's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we have Space Legolas.
Yes.
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
All right. I'm going to say, I'm going to agree with everything there. Rios, main Rios, not hologram Rios. Main Rios, which I'm still assuming is a hologram, just throwing that out there. I like that he's Gimli, makes sense. All the other Rioses are the
Riosai.
Riosai, yes. All the other Riosai are hobbits.
No. They're just they're hobbits because the Gandalf is of. That's who Gandalf is. The person that comes in at the end.
Okay. Maybe. Maybe.
I didn't even, at that point, I didn't know that person was coming by.
Yeah, that is true. When she made this list.
That is actually, I do like that better. So maybe Picard is Frodo. Maybe he's Aragorn.
I could see him as an Aragorn.
Because that character is going to look down on and frown on Picard. You know, just like Gandalf did with the hobbits. She's like, do what you're told, hobbits is.
But by the way, I've never seen Lord of the Rings nor read it.
Oh,
that's all her.
Oh, breaking heart.
How are you still married?
You didn't miss much. You know, you didn't miss much, mate. You really didn't miss much. It's 3 movies. All they had to do was jump on one of the big birds, throw the rings into the volcano, and that would have been it. Done. Over.
Well, the birds couldn't have gotten over the mountains.
That hurts my heart.
They couldn't have got over the mountains, so they couldn't have got. So how did they save them at the end of the third movie?
Totally
Birds.
different class of birds.
Birds, big birds.
At the end of the movie, the bad guy's army was decimated.
Were they African or European?
Swallows. Yeah, they clearly were carrying the coconuts. Oh man!
But yeah, no, good. And so the movie was great. Obviously, you know, Picard then starts to, you know, bit of a rumble, but you know,
yeah,
he starts the fight, and then he decides, you know, he looks around and it's like, no, I'm going to take the high ground. It's like, no, you're not taking the high ground, Picard. You're 89 years old and you're surrounded by young, virile Romulans that are going to kick your ass. There's no changing your mind and taking the high road. You picked the fight with them by taking their sign down, standing all over it, and then sitting down at the bar and demanding, not asking nicely or politely, demanding the way to serve you. But, you know, that's just Picard through and through. So he's surrounded, they give him a sword, and you think there's going to be a sword fight, and then, you know, it's like, just like a Star Trek episode, you know what's going to happen. You know that there's some white in shining, somebody's going to come and save the day at the last minute, and it's Space Legolas. Space Legolas comes in to rescue the day, and at this point, I'm absolutely loving this episode. I'm thinking, yeah, there's going to be some sword fighting, and there's going to be this, that, and the other, and it's like, you know, don't mess with me, homie. You know, I'll, you know, if you want to live, don't mess with me, and then I'm ripped out of the wonderful that wonderful scene, and how it's all feeling Star Trekky, and then it doesn't feel Star Trekky because go on, so you tell them what happens next. But
yeah, before that happens, you know, we do find out that the Romulan believes that Picard took advantage of the Romulans. We do see a sword fight with Picard, but Picard throws down the sword at the first opportunity that he gets. And then right after that, Picard's Kawat Malat, Space Legolas,
Space Nun
Legolas, beheads, quite graphically, mind you, the Romulan that was attacking him.
Was it graphic?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was bloody graphic. There were spurts. Okay, it was graphic.
Okay.
Didn't need to be. They could have just rolled some rubber head on the ground, like Star Trek does when someone loses an appendage. You know, something rubber rolls across the ground. There's no blood everywhere. You know.
There were spurts.
Were there spurts? Okay, I missed the spurts.
There was spurts and a sliding of a head off a body.
And yeah, exactly. When Dooku lost his head in Revenge in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, it just kind of plop plop.
Okay, hold on. That's different. They were using a laser sword. This was traditional metal of some kind, and so it wouldn't have cauterized the wound immediately.
No, it wouldn't have. There have been plenty of videos that lightsabers would not cauterize the wound. We're talking about Star Trek here, though.
I disagree, but
example.
I still believe that it would cauterize. Anyways,
this is Anthony now.
So I get it. I do. But as an outsider, that scene was awesome. I know you guys are going to disagree with me. I don't see it as TVMA because I feel like I've seen stuff like that in TV 14. Maybe not the squirts, you know, although, you know, but the head sliding off. I feel like that's not so. Maybe I'm super desensitized, and I know that I am. But like I just feel like that's on that border of TVMA and TV 14. You know, I feel like without the F word, that would have been TVMA. They would have switched it up and probably not added the squirts or maybe the squishy sound. But it still would have been TV 14. Now, again, as an outsider, I thought that was cool, but I'm not the diehard like Nev is. And so I do get how like looking back and seeing the few episodes that I've watched in the past, I know what you're talking about and I understand. But the question that I would then pose is this meant to rope in a new generation or a next generation of Star Trek fans?
No.
Is it not?
No, it won't. It won't. It absolutely bloody will not. Just like Discovery won't rope in any new people.
Yeah, for me, if you're watching a Star Trek series on a network that you only pay for,
that makes sense.
You're there for CBS. You're
there for Star Trek.
CBS All Access, so you can watch these new Star Trek series
because you're already a fan.
I looked through the thing. They just added Nickelodeon. I find that as a bonus. I doubt there's people going, "Oh, Nickelodeon! I'm going to go and subscribe to CBS All Access." You don't get NFL channel or anything like that. You don't get CBS Sports Network. There's really no other benefit to CBS All Access other than that's the only way that you're getting the live feed if you've cut the cable of CBS, and it's the only way. And sometimes you can't even watch what's on live feed. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, for example, this past Christmas, I couldn't watch it. I was disappointed because of that. But you're not getting people who are checking out Star Trek because they're subscribed to CBS All Access for something else.
All right. And I guess that makes sense. That's a valid point because you do have to pay for it. And because you have to pay for it, this is for fans. This should do way more fan service than it's been doing. And Nev, I understand where you're coming from. Because from what I can tell, this is different. Right, it is more violent. It has more violence, and the language again. I'm on board with you on that one. So, all right, I'll back down on my maybe it's trying to do something new, but based on what you guys have said, I agree with you. You're right.
Apropos says, "What about a Crisis on Infinite Timelines to take Trek back to one universe?"
I'd be there for it.
Seth MacFarlane. That's why I want NBC to buy this bloody IP and put, kick Alex Kurtzman to the bloody curb, and make Seth MacFarlane the showrunner and just say, Seth, please, just fix it. Just fix it, Seth. Fix it. Because I believe he has the power to fix it.
How does the Orville then fit into the timelines?
It would easily. It'd be fine.
He will fix it, and he'll be like, sorry, JJ. Sorry, JJ. Bye-bye. Bye, bad robot. Bye, bad robot. Bye-bye. Bye.
I think apropos is referencing the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, of course.
It was
which I didn't watch. I specifically went online to watch the bits from the shows because I don't want to watch the shows because I don't like the shows. I heard about the Crisis on the Infinite, so it's like, I want to see Brandon Routh as Superman again, so I watched the clip, and I want to see Smallville, so I watched the clip, and I want to watch the Batman, so I watched I have no interest whatsoever in watching the TV shows because they don't interest me.
Yeah, well,
I like DC, but I'm only a Batman. I'm a Batman. I'm a Lobo fan. When it comes to DC, I like Batman and I like Lobo, and I don't really. I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the other DC stuff. Adventures, the Superman, the Dean Cain Superman. Loved that TV show. Loved it. Absolutely loved that DC Superman universe. They didn't bring him into the Crisis. Didn't create an Earth for Dean Cain, did they?
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't, and they should have because he was the first
they should have got Christopher Reeve. Oh,
they brought all the white boys. They brought all the white cisgender males back, but they didn't bring the person of color, the first person of color to play Superman ever, and they didn't bring him into Infinite Crisis.
Wait. Hold on, I'm lost. Are you?
What?
Who's the person of color in Superman? Is he a person of color?
Dean Cain is Latino, I believe.
No.
Is he?
He's half Asian. It's like
Is
Tim
he?
Paul.
Oh,
Didn't you know? Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. No. Dean
was
Cain.
born in Mount Clemens, Michigan.
Dean Cain is
Yeah.
half Asian.
His father
Alright.
was Roger Tanaka. There you go.
Captain Tanaka.
All right.
I did not know that.
So I was a little bit disappointed that there was no Terry Hatcher and that there was no Dean Cain. It's like, if you're doing a Crisis on Infinite Earth and you're bringing all these Earths and all these Supermens and all of these DC characters, where was the Dean Cain one? And I was
What they probably were doing is they actually did bring Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain in it wasn't Dean Cain. It was the guy who played Hercules, Kevin Sorbo.
yes,
But they brought them into Supergirl.
Oh,
So that might have been the
why
plan.
they couldn't?
Anyway, I enjoyed it at least.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Lois and Clark was awful. And
But
the
it was
Adventures of
awful in such
Superman
a
was
great
great.
way.
But the Lois and
very
Clark
good.
stuff, that was like, I was like, okay, you've lowered the quality of the show now. I don't care and we'll stop watching. But still love and appreciate the Adventures of Superman.
what you got, Thaddeus?
Oh, sorry. Did you say once again? Oh, so are we talking about Star Trek again? Or are we back on this Crisis?
Yeah. We're
go back to Star Trek.
We're trying to get back to
Because-
Star Trek.
Because I'm curious about this Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff and Dean Cain being half Asian. That was
Well, you could do
fascinating.
Chatting Crisis another time.
all right.
You and
Yes.
Mrs. Anthony.
Okay. So and the joke about Christopher Reeves Paul was hilarious. I'll be giggling about that for a while now.
Time
So-
plus tragedy equals comedy. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, it totally does. It totally does. I gotta say though, as this episode came to a close, if I were not just watching this on my computer and I had my TV going and like the surround sound busted, and I would have loved these moments, right? Because you get the head chopping off and they get beamed up and Picard looks at him and just gives this kid a scolding. He's like, look, no, that's not how we do things. Now I'm with Nev. There's no way that Picard was trying to take the high road here. He would have gotten his butt handed to him. Quite possibly literally, because they were playing with swords here. And I don't think it was as much, Picard saying, hey, we're going to take the high road. I think he's like, look, I am outnumbered. Right. But I do like when he pulls them up, he says, look, that's not the way we do things. And if you are going to be on this crew, you have got to be, and he says it the way Picard does, but he's like, you've got to listen to me. This is how we're doing it. I loved that. I thought that was really cool. I like the kid, this Legolas, I don't know. There still feels something like angsty teenagery that bothers me a little bit about him.
Needs a
there's
firm hand.
Yeah, there's definitely some daddy issues.
Let's see. He would probably be about 22. I think that's a good estimate. 14 years prior, 22 maybe.
Yeah.
So,
But it's
you're
another
gonna
couple people on the crew now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crew's starting to look a
does.
bit chunkier now, isn't it?
I like
Definitely.
that. I like that.
I do. I like that. I like that the crew is getting chunkier. I liked the crew in the last episode. I'm liking the crew. I'm liking the new additions. Because obviously we got 2 additions to the crew.
Before we get to the finale of this episode, we get the creepy sister of the hot Romulan.
Yeah, hot
Yeah.
Romulan.
Was anybody else expecting her to just start making out with him?
Yes. This is a very much a Cersei
Yes.
golden hand guy, I forget his name, but like this is Game of Thrones right here. I was
No,
waiting
I
for
was
him.
thinking I was thinking Cruel Intentions.
Yeah.
I was thinking Sarah Michelle Gellar from
was
Cruel
interesting.
Intentions.
But there was like a weird like sexual energy she was giving. She's jealous of
She's
his
dominating him.
Yes. Yes.
Which is
And
why I was
choking.
thinking Sarah Michelle
And
Gellar
choking.
from Cruel Intentions,
Yeah.
dominating
Yeah.
her stepbrother Sebastian.
Mhm.
Yeah, very much so.
So he admits to planting a seed of doubt, amongst other things, in Soji.
That's where I was like, that's what she said. I mean, a seed of doubt. Come on. Oh, on the nose much? Come. So,
I planted seeds.
And so we get a
many,
Star
but I'm only
Wars-
going to tell you about one seed.
Yeah, and so we get the Star Wars, the Star Trek, we get the Star portion of Star Trek here.
yes.
We finally get a space battle.
We do get a space
Yes.
Yay! Only took 4 episodes.
battle. And
Yeah.
Emmett, the slacker tactical hologram, Yo habla español.
Was that what that was?
That was the
Yeah.
that was the weapons and tactics emergency hologram, and he didn't
'Cause-
even speak English, and he didn't look
Yeah.
like he really cared.
Yeah. As I was listening, I was like, that sounds familiar. Should I understand this language? But yeah. Was he speaking Spanish?
Thad, you're
Yes.
from Houston. You should recognize that language quite well.
Yeah. No, I speak very poor Spanish. Like very poor.
Yo
I have
yo
a-
habla muy poquito español.
Suficiente para enseñar estudiantes sobre journalismo, más
Sí.
not a mucho
More
más.
than Paul can say.
Yeah, like I can speak in Spanish, just not well. And so, like as I'm listening to this, I'm expecting one of those weird, like Romulan languages or something, Elfish to pop up.
The X
Um,
is Spanish, clearly.
Yeah. So
Jilted
there's-
Spanish lady.
Yes, and I totally see that. I totally see that.
So
You love
we-
yourself so much, you can look at yourself in all your holograms for the rest of your life.
that's why I have mirrors all
You know,
over my
you know
house.
who they should cast as his ex. They should totally bring in Salma Hayek.
Or
Totally
Rosario
bring in
Dawson.
Salma Hayek to be his jilted ex, and she knows all about the electronics and the gizmos. She would be perfect.
Yeah, I could see that. I would actually love Selma Hayek because of her role in 30 Rock, where she plays a jilted lover of Alec Baldwin. And in that, she actually makes reference to Battlestar Galactica in that show. But I think she could pull it off. I think an angry Selma Hayek with the Hayek.
Hayek.
I don't care. She's amazing.
I don't
love
care.
her.
She's hot and she's an amazing
Yes.
actress, and I've been in love with her ever since I watched Desperado.
Yep. Great
So,
show.
After
And they can
that,
bring
we-
in Antonio Banderas as the as his like evil brother or something,
Yep.
Hey, why don't we just have Antonio Banderas be the jilted lover?
Yes.
Yes, we do have
I see
we
it.
do need a millennial Star Trek thing.
Yes,
What if
we
make it
do.
gay?
Yep. Might as well. No, because here's the thing. It's a gay hologram. I'm still going back to this. He is genderless. He's a hologram. So he doesn't technically have a gender. They could really lean into this.
Are you assuming the gender? That's very dangerous,
No.
Thaddeus. You should
I
never
would-
assume.
I would
You should
never
never assume
a
someone's gender, Thaddeus. That's very dangerous.
My assumption is that holograms don't have a gender. That's the assumption.
Everything,
he as a
everything
person.
has a gender. It's
Okay.
a sentient being, therefore it gets to choose. Okay.
That does make sense, because if you are a hologram or an artificial intelligence, you could choose
Which one?
Wow, this conversation has
I love Ryan's response. How do we know if the hologram is gay? Is it rainbowy when the image shows up?
it sparkles a little bit.
All right, so we're getting off the rails here,
Mhm.
and we have already run
Yeah.
over 10 minutes of our.
Yes.
Yeah. Just get on with the Jonathan
finale.
Frakes gave us 10 good Star Trek minutes and a wonderful ending. So let's talk about the ending.
I did
So-
like the ending.
After we get the space battle, the next thing that happens is an unknown ship flies through the middle the Klingon bird of prey that's attacking them, because that's who Space Twitter summoned.
Holdo.
And no, we don't get Holdo, but we do Thaddeus. And I'm surprised you don't know who this is. This is
I recognize I recognize the face, but I don't know the name.
Yeah, Voyager staple 7 of 9. A former Borg, which that definitely also adds to the intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as that ship came flying in, they were all like, "Wow, look at that pilot! Isn't he great? Oh, we got to save that pilot. We got to save him." They kept assuming it was a guy, and then the teleporter shows up, and it's 7. I knew she was going to be in this episode. I saw her name in the credits, but I was just waiting for that moment. I was so excited.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought it was a great. Well, I don't know the extended universe here, and so I am coming in blind. I do recognize the face, and it does lead me to be curious about like who she is, her backstory. But I recognize her from like movie posters or posters of some kind. Maybe
she was Miss America.
Poster.
What year?
Oh, maybe that is the poster that I'm thinking of.
She was Miss America in.
I don't know, but she was one of my very favorite Voyager characters.
She was Miss America.
I recognize her with like the 7 on her face.
1990.
1990. She was Miss America.
But I mean, I'm very curious to see where her story comes and what they do with her. And does that mean we get fewer of the hologram pilots if she takes over piloting the ship?
I owe $1. Apropos called me on that it was a Romulan bird of prey, not it was not a Klingon ship that attacked. I thought that it was a Klingon ship. I owe $1. So far, Apropos gets $2 to the mispronunciation or incorrect fact jar, and that's why we love Apropos on here.
Yeah, I knew she was Miss America, Ryan. I just didn't know the year.
So
well, yeah, I
mean, don't get me wrong. I will always love Jerry Ryan, but she's still not as hot as Jolene Blaylock.
There's a difference between, in Apropos' eyes, than getting Star Trek lore wrong and then remembering exactly what year Jerry Ryan was Miss America.
I think remembering that Jerry Ryan was Miss America is more important than getting whether it's a bird of prey from the Klingon Empire or the Romulan Empire. It's more important. Knowing about Jerry Ryan's more important if you're a bloke.
Well, but at the same time, this is talking Picard, not talking.
I don't care. Apropos, knowing vital statistics about Jerry Ryan, a really, really hot woman, is more important than nerd statistics.
No,
even though we are nerds.
Of vital statistics, looking at Google right now, she's worth $30 million and was originally born Jerry Lynn Zimmerman in Munich, Germany, and grew up in. Oh, shut up, Siri.
She's got that strong German bone structure.
Yes.
You know. Fräulein.
I said the word Google and my phone perked up. But yes, those are very important statistics. Her net worth and her.
So so now we've got Jerry. What's her face that keeps calling Captain Admiral Picard JL? She can bugger off now. She can. You know, she said in the last episode she just wants a lift somewhere. Well, I hope she gets off where she wanted a lift to, because we've got much better female characters than her now.
No, we are definitely going to get started. Yeah, she's going to be our foil.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Christy. We're not getting rid of Rafi anytime soon.
But I'm just saying that she can go any time now because
Oh,
we've got the
sure,
Doctor,
yeah.
because the Doctor's awesome. She's brilliant. I love the Doctor. I think she's a cracking character. 7 of 9. Well, 7 of 9, 7 of 9. You know, she's awesome. And
And she's the new and by the way, to revert to the old comments, she's Gandalf.
she's Gandalf. Yeah,
She could be our Gandalf.
she is. She is Gandalf. And then we've got Space Legolas, because let's be honest, you know, he spent pretty much his entire formative years with nuns, so the jury's still out there. Maybe I'm not going to assume his gender at all or his sexual preference.
Never do that,
You can't
man.
assume his gender because
Not when he has swordsmanship like that.
No, they do refer to him as him, right?
says that he cannot possibly become one of them because he is a male.
Yeah.
If
So
the gender was in any kind of question, then they would have made him a Romulan war nun.
yes. So in that sense, we're not speculating his gender. The nuns are. So if anyone's need to be shamed here, it's these space ninja nuns.
I mean, honestly,
Warrior nuns. They're warrior nuns.
Yeah.
they're
sorry.
exclusionary. I mean, how
Yeah.
is that? They won't let a boy in their club.
Seriously. Seriously. We can do pretty much everything a girl can do except give
I just you know, I love the crew, except Ravi. So I hope she buggers off.
All right, so really quick, we get a preview of the next episode, and we will then
I can't wait for those outfits.
and then we will talk. We'll give our Warp Core ratings. The preview of the next episode is on Canto Bight. I mean, Freeport.
No, it's in New Orleans. Come on, man. This is Mardi Gras at its best.
We're going to see. Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of funny. That is Mardi Gras week.
Is it really? Oh, yeah, it is Mardi Gras week.
It is Mardi Gras week next week. So
Yeah.
Very
Awesome.
certainly timely. Now,
So is
that
it going to
being
be lots of
said-
people doing this? Woo!
Oh, no,
God.
put it down. This is a slightly family show. Nobody wants to see that.
Apropos, Ryan, can you throw beads at Nev?
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. Who's got beads?
Oh man! All right. So
Nev gone wild.
after
See, Ryan threw me some beads.
Nice.
we're a little bit delayed on the chat, so thank you, Ryan, for that. Mrs. Anthony, why don't you go ahead and start us out? How many warp cores? What's your rating for episode 4, which was titled? Going back up so I make sure that I get the correct name of this.
Something about the candor.
Yeah. Shoot. Let's see.
Canderous.
Absolute Candor. That was the name of this episode.
Absolute candor.
How many warp cores do you give episode 4 of Picard?
This one is not my favorite episode. I didn't really care for it basically all was just back and forth in time frames. I did like parts of it, but I'm gonna go for 2 overall. This was more of like a filler episode for me. It's not one that I'm gonna be excited to go back and watch anytime soon.
2 of 5 warp cores?
Only 2 of 5, yeah.
Wow. All right, Neil.
No, I'm the same. There was 10 minutes in this. It lost 1 for the F-bomb. It lost 1 for the TVMA, and it lost 1 because the director is a gutless a-hole who should have stood up to the writers and should have wrote out the F-bomb.
So,
So
really,
Jonathan Frakes should have done what a director should have done. Should have looked at that script, gone, not in my episode, not happening. But he didn't. He was gutless. So yeah.
All
Plus,
right.
I had really high expectations of this episode and slapped down. So 2 from me.
For me, I was excited about the crew building. I was excited about the space battle. I was excited until the beheading that we graphically saw. I was excited for the sword fighting that was foreshadowed in the beginning of the episode, with Space Legolas as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this episode. I did not find myself as distracted, but I did get taken out by the beheading. I did get taken out of the episode by the F-bomb that was there. So honestly, I'm not going to dock them a full point for each of those. I'm only going to dock them one total. For me, this was a 4 out of 5 Warp Core episode.
Paul, I've got to say, I'm pretty close to where you are too. So episode 1, hands down, was, to me, it was, I think I said 5. It has been my favorite episode so far. It was great. A 3 is just an average, not filler, but not a great episode necessarily. This is, I really want to give it between a 3 and a 4. I'm not sure I want to give it a full 4, but at this point, I've come to expect the F-bomb, unfortunately. The TVMA doesn't bother me necessarily, except the fact that I don't believe the beheading was necessarily graphic. But again, I've been desensitized, and I think we've established that I've probably got something wrong in the head. But like, I'm going to say 3.5. This was a very interesting episode. It moved at a pretty effective clip. It was well structured in the sense that it introduced you in the beginning, and then it foreshadowed, and it came back to it. And I didn't dislike it. I thought it was more than fine, but less than great. So I'm going to say 3.75.
Now you change it on me. I already put you in for 3.5.
Okay, 3.5. That's fine. That's fine.
I already put you in 3.5 for the spreadsheet. Overall, that puts us at 2.875. So it gets less than a 3 because of Mrs. Anthony and Neil's taking the 3 points away.
Mm-hmm.
We're on different ends of the spectrum, but you know what? That's what makes this show great. Being able to
Look,
have the different ends.
We've got. I'm sorry, but Jonathan Frakes has to be held to a higher standard. Am I correct, Kirsty? Back me up on this. Jonathan Frakes has to be held to a higher standard than just a bog standard director of a Star Trek episode.
Exactly. He was part of one of the most popular franchises for the entire duration.
He's Star Trek royalty. He has to be held to a higher standard. That's why this episode gets a 2.
There was because you guys know I'm going back and watching all the Next Generation episodes, and I just got to that really awful one where Deanna Troi was like floating in her dreams, and I remember looking in the trivia notes on Memory Alpha, and it was one of the ones that Frakes had talked about as being really bad, really poorly thought out, not his favorite of the series. He had problems with it. He's one of the few people who has actually been willing over the years to talk about what's good, what's bad, the episodes he liked, the episodes he didn't think were good. He should know better. He knows from just the shows that he's acted in what a good Star Trek episode should be.
Mm-hmm. Got to hold his feet to the fire.
So, any closing comments, Thaddeus?
No, I think that with our overall score being a 2.85, I can understand that from a community perspective. I think there will be people like Paul and I who think better of it, and maybe even there will be people out there, of course, who think better still than Paul and I thought. And I think there will be people who like Christy and Nev, who are downers and who like to look at the dark side of everything, who will probably even give it a lesser score than what they gave. But as a community, I think it's very likely that we will see that the average person will maybe not love this episode, but
like it maybe a little less than half. That's kind of my feeling.
You know what I'm thinking is the case here?
Hmm.
Neil and I are both people who have watched Star Trek in general. Paul has seen a lot of Star Trek, but he's not as much of a Trekkie as I am.
Yeah.
And you're admittedly new to the franchise.
Yeah.
So we're grading it on a curve of we know what Star Trek could be. We know the good stuff over the years. I've been watching Star Trek for my entire life. That's just about 38 years worth of time. I know what a good episode could be. I really love this series. I'm on board. This one was not my favorite, but that's not to say I didn't like it. I think it was average. I think it could have been better. There are some things that brought it down a little bit for me, but yeah, as far as the series as a whole, it is still well worth my time.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't given up on it yet. Even kind of the slower 2 episodes, so 2 and 3 are a little slower. I still am enjoying it. You know, I still like it. I'm very curious to move forward, mostly because now we've had space ninjas, space assassins. In the next episode, I think we're getting space pimps, which
they do go to Star Trek Canto Bight. So what happens here?
We'll have space cocktail waitresses.
Yes, indeed.
And space broom janitors.
Yes.
Force janitors.
They're off to the halls.
I love
Space Urza.
Space Urza. They're off to the
I love
halls.
the preview of the kind of costumes that we're gonna get. I can't to see them dressed up like this. And Picard in an eye patch. I'm so excited for next week's episode.
I'm pretty stoked about it too. Yeah.
Neil, what you got coming up this week until our show on Friday?
Runes.
Runes of Magic. Is that going to be on your Twitch channel, or is that?
I don't know, to be honest with you. The memory on my PC's been playing up recently, so.
All right, we'll see what we could do there.
We'll see what we can do. I mean, we've still got. You got to remember, there's primarily for me this week, it's going to be GAC. We've got the final phase, and I am. We've already done phase 1, and I got a full clear, so I've got 2 more rounds to try and get just under 6,000 banners if I want to hit Kaiba, and I've been furiously trying to work out the math for the various different feats to see if I can get it. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
We'll be watching with bated breath. Thaddeus, you got anything fun coming up this week on your channel?
So nothing official as of yet, but I am still trying to put together some stuff for. I really want to see the Resistance play a bigger role in certain raids, and so I've been trying to see how far I can get as a one-man Sith triumvirate raid with all of my abilities. Typically I get bored about halfway through P1 and I'm just like, F it, I'm going to throw in everything. Which I know is not a smart tactical move, but I'm trying to figure out how I can do that in the best teams that I can put together. I am excited for not only Thursday, I'm excited for this new episode, as we've mentioned, but Friday. I am very excited for Friday, which will bring us, I think it's Friday, right?
It comes out on Friday.
Which brings us
21st.
Clone Wars, right?
Yep.
Season 7, episode 1.
So excited.
As soon as we're finished here on Talking Picard at 10, we'll we'll go to the bathroom, we'll refill our drinks, and we'll jump onto your channel for Talking Clones coming up.
Yes, indeed.
Starting next week.
Yes, indeed. Very excited for that. I'm curious to know how many times I will have watched it by then. Definitely at least twice, maybe 5 times, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Very stoked. Very stoked. So, yes. But yeah, that's me.
Oh, and Thaddeus hit me up so that we can do something on your channel we'll do Thaddeus talks anarchy. We'll talk about what anarchy really is.
I'm actually very curious about this.
All right. So,
and what about you, Paul? What do you have coming?
What do you got going, Paul?
Mrs. Anthony asked what I have coming up this week. Tomorrow, we have our weekly Jackbox games on Twitch. So follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Escape Podcast. Play some Jackbox games with us. If you're in our Discord channel, you can join the audience. If you're not in our Discord channel and you're just watching on Twitch, you are relegated to the audience, but the audience still can win some of the games. That evening, we will also talk about, during the Twitch stream, we'll give you guys a heads up that the new Woot Derby has started. Mrs. Anthony, what is this week's special Woot category?
It's going to be hermits and nomads. So I have a really cute little hermit crab that I'm going to be entering, and a really cute little son that's a nomad running away to the horizon. It's adorable. You'll see.
All right, so we'll show you guys those. You can always check out Krittikae Designs, facebook.com/Krittikae, if I'm correct. You can always Google Going Nerdy on YouTube to get Thaddeus's channel. All you got to do is do Nev SWGOH. You'll find Nev's channel on there, and you guys are already here watching Talking Picard. But lots of fun stuff coming up this week. We're very excited. And just one more reminder that the push for 1,000 is still going on. Neil's hair is on the line. It's for a good cause. 1,000 subscribers. And
is it being bronzed?
No, he's going to take the hair and donate it. You will see short hair Neil. Yes.
Can we go bald, Neil?
I don't know. That's
well, I mean, it would be it wouldn't be bald, but it would be like grade 1 or grade 2.
Okay.
Crew cut.
So you will get near bald Neil if we get to 1,000 subscribers. Thaddeus, if you want to help that out,
when we get to 1,000
also
subscribers.
A reminder that if we do hit 1,500, I will wear a Ohio State cheerleader uniform.
A female cheerleader.
I just said Ohio State cheerleader uniform.
Female.
My question, and stop me if this is too personal, but how do we have access for Paul to have a female Ohio State cheerleader outfit?
We don't know how we're going to get access to it.
Don't worry about that.
Okay. I just didn't want to pry into anything personal.
Go blue.
Walmart in a Walmart in Ohio.
Sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sure it's around. But anyway, guys, support your content creators. We also have on the Escape Pod content creators, we have Heinze, we have Scotty McLaren, who's coming up with another thing coming up very, very soon. Scotty would love to have that be part of TepCon as well. And we have tons and tons of stuff right around the corner. Thank you to all of you. And go check out go to Escape Pod. Castaways.com and click on that merch button. It does support Mrs. Anthony for all the art that she does for all this. If you buy a Team Neil or Team Nev, Team Neil, Team Paul, there is now a Team Krittikae shirt on there. We're still working on the Team Thaddeus one. It just might be just a little Thaddeus Going Nerdy logo with Team Thaddeus. But nonetheless, guys, thank you. No, I am not getting a tramp stamp.
Tramp stamp. That's 5,000 subscribers.
You know what?
Don't do it, Paul.
500,000, and I'll do that.
Okay.
Thaddeus, give us your sign off, my friend.
As always, my friends, this has been Neil, Paul, Thaddeus, and always Christy from the TepCon Castaways Network. Smile and stay nerdy.
Be nice to each other, damn it. Good night. Hit the button, Neil.
You got it, mate. Ta-ta, folks.